Critical information about your inheritance is accelerating toward you at this very moment. The communication you've been waiting for is finally coming through, and it's moving fast. But here's what makes this situation even more intense. Legal protection is already being implemented. Restraining orders are being put in place right now against all those flying monkeys. Those manipulated pawns who've been doing the dirty work of trying to block what's rightfully yours. The system has recognized the threats and is shutting down every single person attempting to interfere with your inheritance. The courts are making sure of it. Your windfall is protected and on its way while they're being kept at a mandatory distance. What they buried beneath decades of calculated silence is erupting through the soil of deception. The inheritance that bears your name has been trapped in a labyrinth of lies, but the walls are crumbling down as we speak. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. Make no mistake, this revelation comes not by chance, but by cosmic decree. Those who conspired in shadowed rooms, who sealed your birthright in vaults of betrayal, are scrambling like rats on a sinking ship. Their phones light up at 3 a.m. with panic-stricken messages. Their lawyers exchange frantic calls. Their accountants work through the night to cover tracks that cannot be hidden anymore. They believed you would remain blind, docile, accepting of the scraps they tossed while feasting on your abundance. But something shifted in the celestial alignment when you stopped questioning and started knowing. When your energy transformed from seeking to seeing. The documents they thought were destroyed, preserved. The witnesses they silenced, speaking. The truth they buried, resurrected. Every attempt to distract you has failed. Every manipulation tactic has backfired. You stand at the threshold of revelation while they cower behind rapidly disintegrating shields of deception. The cosmic tumblers have fallen into place. The great unsealing has begun. Secrets preserved in darkness for generations now burn with the light of exposure. Family members who smiled in your face while signing away your legacy now wake screaming. From nightmares, where your eyes, knowing, seeing, understanding eyes, follow them through every waking moment. Some believed they would take these secrets to their graves. Instead, they find the graves of their deception opening wide, disgorging every hidden document, every whispered lie, every betrayal committed in the name of greed. The universe keeps receipts, and payment is now due in full. What they never understood was that your inheritance wasn't simply hidden, it was protected, held in cosmic escrow until you became the person strong enough to wield its power. Their attempts to redirect your birthright only served to activate ancient safeguards they were too spiritually blind to perceive. Every document they falsified, every account they drained, every property they transferred, left energetic signatures that now blaze like beacon fires across the night sky. The pressure builds in their chests like cosmic weight, crushing their ability to maintain the lie. Sleep evades them. Food turns to ash in their mouths. Their very cells scream with the truth they've suppressed. Some among them rush to construct alternative narratives, pathetic attempts to minimize their treachery. We were protecting you, they'll claim. You weren't ready, they'll insist. Absolute garbage spewing from mouths that have tasted the fruits of your stolen legacy for far too long. But watch how divine forces block their fabrications before they can even fully form them. Words fail on their lips. Evidence appears from nowhere to contradict their stories. Cosmic justice leaves no room for further deception. The universe has placed them between two impossible choices: confess and face your knowing eyes, or remain silent and be crushed by the weight of their own deceit. The clock ticks. The pressure intensifies. Their hands shake as they reach for phones, for legal papers, for whatever vessel will finally deliver what has always been yours. Some weep in private rooms, finally comprehending the magnitude of their betrayal. Others rage against the inevitable, still believing they can outmaneuver destiny itself. Fools! The cosmic wheels of justice turn regardless of their acceptance. They have no choice but to yield. Their confession approaches like a tsunami, unstoppable, all-consuming, devastating to the false reality they constructed. The pressure manifests in physical symptoms they cannot explain to bewildered doctors. Migraines that blind them at crucial moments. Tremors that make signing further false documents impossible. Paralyzing anxiety that strikes precisely when they attempt to continue their deception. Their bodies become cosmic battlegrounds, where the war between truth and lies plays out in symptoms no medicine can alleviate. Those who orchestrated the greatest theft believed themselves beyond accountability. Now they discover that universal law recognizes no exemptions, acknowledges no excuses, accepts no plea bargains. The pressure increases exponentially with each passing hour, compressing decades of deception into a diamond-hard truth they can no longer swallow or ignore. The numbers don't lie, though the people tasked with protecting them certainly did. Your inheritance, substantial, life-altering, rightfully yours, was diverted through offshore accounts, shadow corporations, and handshake deals made by those who wore masks of loving concern while picking your pocket. Now I want to take a moment to tell you about a few individuals that shouldn't exist. A trained occultist who escaped from a satanic coven. A former Black Ops drone pilot who flew swarms with his mind, a multi-millionaire psychic CFO who predicted market shifts before they happened. What do these remarkable individuals have in common? You'll find them all in the Obsidian Inner Order, where they share their forbidden knowledge on our private Discord server. My chosen soul has drunk deep from the well of knowledge eon after aeon. In this incarnation, these extraordinary individuals became my allies in the Obsidian Inner Order. They recognized the call, they stepped forward, they connected with others who understand their unique gifts and burdens. What is stopping you from manifesting the same? The synchronicities that brought them here weren't accidents. Neither is your discovery of this message. When souls of this caliber gather, the Archons take notice. They fear our collective power. They know what happens when the truly awakened find each other. Join our weekly calls, hear their stories firsthand. Share your own journey with those who won't dismiss or doubt you. The knowledge exchanged in our private channels cannot be found anywhere else on this plane. Click the link in the description below now. The extraordinary souls await your arrival. The question isn't whether you belong among them. The question is, how much longer will you wait to claim your place? Property deeds bearing family names were transferred in midnight manipulations. Resources meant to support your divine purpose were channeled to fund the lifestyles of those who claim to have your best interests at heart. Betrayal ran through. Family trees like poison sap, corrupting what should have been sacred trust. Blood ties became strangling vines. The very ones who whispered family first were the architects of your disinheritance. Aunts who kissed your cheek at holidays while signing documents that stole your future. Uncles who promised protection while protecting only their access to what was never theirs to claim. Cousins who grew fat on the fruits of your birthright. Their calculations seemed flawless in human terms, but they failed to account for cosmic mathematics. The universal law that ensures balance will always eventually be restored. Their perfectly constructed house of cards now sways in the winds of divine intervention. What they stole was never just money. It was opportunity, legacy, the foundation upon which you were meant to build a life of abundance unbounded by their limitations. They thought themselves clever, but the universe recognized theft wrapped in family obligation for exactly what it was. Now their schemes implode with magnificent precision. Financial institutions flag suspicious activities from years past. Lawyers discover overlooked clauses in binding documents. Accountants uncover discrepancies that can only be explained by deliberate manipulation. The magnitude of their deception becomes clear as records surface from hidden vaults. Not mere thousands, millions diverted. Not single properties. Entire portfolios concealed, not modest resources. Generational wealth systematically stripped away and parceled among conspirators who swore familial loyalty while practicing calculated treachery. Those vacation homes where they hosted family gatherings, purchased with your money, those vehicles they proudly displayed, bought with your inheritance. Those educational opportunities they afforded their children but denied to you, financed by your birthright. The lavish weddings, the exotic vacations, the comfortable retirements, all of it built on a foundation of cosmic theft that can no longer stand. Some among them kept meticulous records, believing such documentation would protect them when questions inevitably arose. Cosmic irony turns these very records into the evidence that ensures their downfall. The paper trails they created to justify their actions now serve as maps leading directly to their doors, highlighting every transaction, every transfer, every calculated move designed to enrich themselves at your expense. They expected tears, they prepared for rage, they armored themselves against accusation and blame. What they never anticipated was your unbothered magnificence. While they checked your social media for signs of devastation, you were building empires within. While they monitored your movements for indications of breakdown, you were aligning with source energy that transcends their limited understanding of power. Your refusal to beg for what is rightfully yours terrifies them. Your ability to thrive despite their sabotage confounds them. The peace that radiates from your being despite their best efforts to destroy it shatters their belief in their own superiority. They whisper among themselves, "Why isn't she breaking? How can he still be succeeding? Why aren't they desperate?" Yet their confusion is delicious, their fear is palpable. Each morning you rise without carrying the weight of their betrayal is another day their anxiety intensifies. Each goal you achieve without the inheritance they withheld is another crack in their carefully constructed narrative. Each moment of joy you experience without their permission is another nail in the coffin of their control. You have become the unstoppable force their immovable deception cannot withstand. Your very existence in a state of alignment rather than devastation has backed them into a corner from which there is only one escape: surrender what was never theirs to take. Your aura of untouchable peace disrupts their energetic frequency. When your name is mentioned, conversations falter. When your image appears, stomachs clench. When your achievements reach their awareness, sleep departs. They cannot understand how someone they worked so diligently to destroy continues to expand, to elevate, to emanate power that makes their own appear as child's play. They send flying monkeys to gather intelligence, friends who suddenly reach out after years of silence, distant relatives who express sudden interest in your well-being, social connections who probe for signs of financial struggle. These pitiful reconnaissance missions yield nothing but further confusion. The reports come back unchanged, peaceful, prospering, unperturbed by matters that should have destroyed lesser beings. Some among them become obsessed with uncovering the source of your apparent immunity to their machinations. They consult financial advisors. How is this possible? They question mutual acquaintances. What do they know that we don't? They even explore spiritual avenues previously dismissed as superstition, suddenly desperate to understand the force that protects you from their continued attempts at energetic and financial assassination. Little do they comprehend that your unbothered energy is not a strategy but a state of being, not a mask, but your authentic essence, not a temporary condition, but the permanent resonance of someone who has recognized their own divine nature and cannot be diminished by those who operate from the limited consciousness of lack and fear. The barriers now descending between you and those who sought to rob you of your birthright are not merely human constructions. Cosmic forces have issued restraining orders that transcend courthouse filings. In the physical realm, legal documents materialize with signatures that cannot be disputed. Judges who have no connection to your situation feel inexplicably compelled to expedite your case. Evidence appears in forgotten files, in overlooked safety deposit boxes, in the guilty conscience of a former conspirator who can no longer bear the weight of complicity. But beyond the visible, far more powerful forces implement spiritual restraining orders against every flying monkey who carried out the dirty work of your betrayers. Those who whispered lies about your character to justify their theft find their words turning to ash on their tongues when they attempt to malign you now. Feel the shield of protection that surrounds you, impenetrable, absolute, divinely ordained. It renders their attacks powerless, their manipulations futile, their access to your energy permanently revoked. These spiritual injunctions operate with supernatural precision, identifying and blocking not just known adversaries, but all who aligned themselves against your highest good, the cousin who pretended ignorance while benefiting from your disinheritance, the family friend who witnessed the deception and remained silent, the advisor who facilitated the transfer of your abundance into undeserving hands. All of them, now find themselves unable to penetrate the sacred space of your existence. Their calls go straight to voicemail. Their messages remain undelivered. Their very thoughts of interfering with your restoration trigger consequences they cannot comprehend, but most certainly feel. The universe has spoken. They are banned from your kingdom. The mechanisms of this cosmic restraint manifest in increasingly visible ways. Attempts to contact you mysteriously fail. Technology malfunctions specifically when they try to reach you. Mutual connections suddenly become unavailable to pass messages. Physical paths to your location appear blocked by unexpected obstacles. Even their dreams deny them access to your energy, creating spiritual firewalls that their unconscious minds cannot penetrate. Some seek to circumvent these divine barriers through increasingly desperate measures. They send emissaries bearing seemingly innocent messages. They create new identities in attempts to establish fresh connections. They invoke distant familial ties as justification for renewed access. All futile. The cosmic restraining orders recognize energetic signatures, not merely names or faces or blood relations. Those most deeply implicated find themselves experiencing bizarre metaphysical phenomena when attempting to violate these boundaries. Temporary paralysis, sudden illness, inexplicable accidents. The universe deploys increasingly severe warnings that their interference will not be tolerated, that the season of their access to your life force has permanently ended. Behind closed doors, the alliance of deceit fractures like glass struck by cosmic lightning. Those who stood united in their conspiracy now point fingers with vicious desperation. The blame game escalates to spectacular heights as each seeks to minimize their role in what they now recognize as a catastrophic miscalculation. It was her idea to hide the trust documents. He told me you would never notice the missing properties. They assured me you had given permission for the transfers. Their unity, founded on quicksand of shared guilt, dissolves as self-preservation becomes the only goal. Former confidants become accusers. Longtime partners in crime become adversaries. Family members who broke bread while breaking trust now cannot stand to be in the same room. Some rush to secure individual immunity, offering to testify against the others. Some frantically transfer assets, hoping to preserve some portion of their ill-gotten gains. Some flee to distant locations, as if geographical distance could separate them from universal accountability. Watch the spectacular implosion from the safety of your protected space. Their downfall requires no assistance from you. They are more than capable of destroying each other without your intervention. The most calculating among them, the architects. Of your disinheritance, discover too late that they created not loyal accomplices, but potential witnesses to their crimes. Every person they involved becomes another potential betrayer. Every shared secret becomes potential testimony. Every collaborative act of deception becomes evidence that can be leveraged against them. The cosmic irony is exquisite. Those who conspired to steal your inheritance now steal whatever scraps of dignity they can from each other. Private conversations become battlegrounds of accusation. You went too far. You took more than your share. You left evidence that could implicate us all. Holiday gatherings transform into strategic negotiations, each family member positioning for minimal damage to their reputation and financial standing. Lifelong relationships disintegrate under the corrosive acid of exposed treachery. Those who believed themselves protected by shared complicity discover the terrible truth. There is no honor among cosmic thieves. The same individuals who solemnly swore to maintain silence now offer complete disclosure in exchange for leniency. Those who promised to take it to the grave now speak with remarkable candor when faced with potential consequences. Those who pledged eternal familial solidarity now separate themselves with surgical precision from the real perpetrators. Even those peripherally involved, the enablers, the blind eye turners, the convenient amnesia sufferers, distance themselves with remarkable speed. We always knew something wasn't right, they claim, with newfound moral clarity. We never would have participated had we known the full extent, they insist, with retrospective righteousness. As the walls close in, as their options dwindle to dust, watch for the desperate reappearance of someone long absent. Their timing is not coincidental, it is calculated. They arrive bearing gifts of false remorse. They come with carefully rehearsed explanations. They appear with convenient emotional wounds that they believe will distract you from their participation in the theft of your birthright. Families should reconcile. They'll insist with practiced sincerity. Life is too short for discord. They'll philosophize with empty wisdom. The past should remain buried. They'll suggest with transparent self-interest. Their true motives glow like toxic waste beneath the thin veneer of their performance. They have watched your rising from afar. They have witnessed your expansion despite their efforts to limit you. They have seen the universe align in your favor, and now they seek to attach themselves to your ascending star as their own foundations crumble. Recognize this for the test it is. The universe places before you this final challenge, not to confuse you, but to confirm your growth. The you of yesterday might have welcomed their return, might have sought validation in their apparent change of heart. The you of today sees with clarity that would blind the uninitiated. Their access to your kingdom has been permanently revoked, not by your hand alone, but by cosmic decree. Should they attempt to circumvent this divine restraining order, the consequences will manifest with such immediate precision that even they must acknowledge forces beyond human comprehension at work. You need not engage. You need not explain. You need not justify your boundaries. The universe itself stands guard at the gates of your reclaimed inheritance. Their appearance follows a predictable pattern, choreographed by desperation rather than genuine remorse. First comes the casual reconnection, the thinking of you text, the just wanted to check in email, the happened to be in your area coincidence. Then the gradual escalation, shared memories carefully selected to evoke emotional Response: references to family bonds designed to activate obligation, hints at their own suffering intended to awaken your compassion. The performance reaches its crescendo with the big revelation, their dramatic disclosure of discovering what happened to your inheritance, their performative outrage at the betrayal, their convenient positioning as the one honest person who wants to help you reclaim what was taken. The cosmic audacity of this charade would be amusing if it weren't so pathetically transparent. What they fail to comprehend is that your energetic evolution has rendered you immune to manipulation tactics that might once have succeeded. The very skills they rely upon, emotional leverage, guilt activation, obligation enforcement, become useless against someone who has ascended beyond the frequency where such tools can operate. The communication arrives with the speed and force of celestial lightning, unstoppable, undeniable, transformative in its impact. What was hidden is revealed. What was stolen is returned. What was meant for your hands alone finally completes its journey back to its rightful owner. Your inheritance, in all its forms, materializes with a divine timing that makes mockery of human schedules and expectations. The financial components manifest through unexpected channels. Overlooked accounts suddenly discovered, properties revealed in forgotten portfolios, investments matured beyond all projections. The material wealth returns multiplied by the very time they sought to keep it from you. Closure descends like a mantle of peace upon your shoulders. The questions that once kept you awake now seem insignificant in the face of cosmic certainty. The doubts that once clouded your vision dissolve in the light of undeniable truth. The wounds that once shaped your identity heal so completely that even their scars become marks of beauty rather than pain. The waiting is over. The time of restoration is now. Your inheritance, material, spiritual, ancestral, cosmic, surges toward you with the force of a universal tide that none can resist or reverse. Stand in your power, open your hands, receive what has always been yours. The universe has spoken. The decree is final. Your inheritance comes fast, and nothing can stand in its way. This restoration occurs in quantum leaps rather than gradual steps. What might have unfolded over months or years in human time compresses into days or even hours in cosmic timing. The acceleration creates a sensation of divine vertigo as blessings arrive with such velocity that you barely assimilate one before the next appears. The cosmic accounting is complete. The universal audit is concluded. The divine verdict is rendered. Your inheritance, in all its multidimensional glory, returns to its rightful owner with interest compounded by the very time it was withheld. The universe has spoken. The restoration is unstoppable. Your inheritance comes fast, and nothing, absolutely nothing, can stand in its way.